What? I didn't even know that was in there. That's annoying. Everybody? I'm going to check some commentary to make sure that doesn't mean everybody. Be attentive to individual needs. That's interesting. Isn't that cool? That's why some churches want us to give blanket answers on huge issues. Well, my Bible says be attentive to individual needs. That's why we're not going to make polarizing political statements about certain things in our Christian community right now. No matter who says what, we won't be pressured into giving blanket statements to individual needs. Never.
Never. Speaking of diversity, New York City, one thing that is polarizing to some communities, especially within religion, is homosexuality and the debate around it. I mean, how do you balance those two things? I mean, are people of all sexual orientations welcome, and how do you see that?
Absolutely. I think what I was referring to there was, some people will be like, you need to make that, you need to answer our questions about the homosexuality issue. And I always say, I do, you just don't like my answers. And here's exactly what I mean by that. Some media wants us to use our pulpit to have a soapbox for social issues. I don't believe that's our job. I don't believe Jesus did that. You go look at what Jesus did. He was always talking about the heart of an individual and the soul of a person, not these symptomatic societal problems. And people hate that because a lot of churches are about what they're against. We're about what we're for. And when it comes to people's sexuality, I don't want to use a public forum to talk about private things, because how in the world can you have a dialogue? How in the world can I hear your story? How in the world can someone have a question? So if I stand up in a pulpit and I just start railing at something or make a statement in a newspaper about something, I believe it's insensitive to the journey that people are walking on, and our church is going to protect people no matter where you're from, no matter what you carry, no matter what kind of orientation you feel like is your lane of life to run in. I want to have a conversation about it. We have a stance on love, and we have conversations about everything else.
Well, I love that, and that makes sense to me, because when you say, you have a stance on love and you're talking about hearts and souls, I often see, people want to focus on homosexuality and the gay marriage issue and whether they should be allowed to get married. And a lot of homosexual couples are looking around saying, I just love this person with all my heart and soul, so I'm looking for some support. Do you feel like you're not in a position to give them support on that issue, or do you feel like it's just not your lane?
It's not my job to be people's judge and jury. If I sat down with a homosexual couple and they asked me what I thought about their relationship, I would tell them, and it would be at their table, and it would be our business. But their situation is different than the next situation, and often people get these two words mixed up, acceptance and approval. Like, I don't necessarily, if someone comes in my church, I don't have to approve of every single thing in their life, because that's not my job. I'm not God. But my job is to accept you as I have been accepted with everything in my life. God accepted me. So acceptance and approval, we draw a really cool line in there, because it's like, look, I'm not going to tell you. There's a lot of people who will come into our church, leave and go, no thanks. I don't want to change I don't want to live, I don't want to believe that. And I say, good for you, that's your job. You have to answer to God for your life, not me. So why is this on me? So people are always like, what do you think about homosexuality? I'm like, I love my wife, I'm married. You're asking the wrong guy. But that's just to be funny. But I do believe it's such a sensitive issue. I have gay friends, I have people that I love that are right in the thick of that kind of debate. And I just refuse to ostracize people any longer. I hate it. I think that there's been so much hate and so much bigotry and so much insensitivity that I'm done with that. And so the people who criticize us for it, I like making those people mad, because
I hear you.
They are who they are.
And I think if we focus on love, it'll all fix itself out. If all people just focus on love, at least that's my personal belief. I do want
to, before you go, Jesus said to do two things. He said, love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind. And then he said, number two, love your neighbor.